What do you want to say? You know how we do that thing where we start it with something that's like, I don't know, kind of fun?
Like a bit?
Yeah, what do you want to do for that?
I'll be honest, I don't have a bit.
All right. Well, do you just want to start?
Yeah, one sec. It's real fucking light.
I sure hope I can record this podcast in my black sunglasses, Snoop.
How are you ever going to see the mic?
I don't know.
You know how we like to podcast with the lights off.
But it's prescription. So don't worry.
What are we doing? Higgins, this is Comrades, Cocktails, and Comics. It's a show where I, Snoop Lynch, and you, Higgins Sturm, that's you.
That's me.
He's over there. What do we do?
We drink.
We
read.
We do all those things together, and that's really important.
Well, with friends. I mean, you can do it with other people too, but like you might like it better with friends.
Yeah, get a friend, Higgins. Get a friend.
Buy a friend.
How much they go for these days?
I don't know, but that one, never mind. I don't know. I can't tell you where I was going to go with that.
We read things, we talk about things, and we do it together. It's important. It's real late here, but, it has to get done.
We do it for our fans.
We do it for the fans. All X number amount. I haven't checked in a while, but we know they're out there to listen to us talk about what we're drinking this month.
You know what else is out there?
What?
Aliens.
Way to tee up that later content.
We should at least say what we're talking about first, like the comic book, so they know that, so our drink makes sense, right?
Maybe.
All right. Well, we're doing the Men in Black. Why are we doing the Men in Black, Snoop?
Because the new Men in Black movie's on the way, Higgins.
Is it? Who's?
It's a ragtag team. It's the dynamic duo themselves. It's a Tessa Thompson and a Chris Hemsworth. They're so charming and British, probably.
Probably. Mm-hmm. I hope so. Well, he's Australian, but like same thing.
Yeah, tomato.
As long as there's no shrimp nearby, there will be no need to be putting anything on the Barbie.
Is that racist?
No, they're white too.
Fair enough. We're off to a good start here.
Good thing you can edit stuff.
That's right. But rather than watch that movie that'll probably be terrible, we decided to go back and check out where the Men in Black came from. What's their origins? What are they up to? What were they up to back then? So we're reading the very first 6 issues of The Men in Black, written by Lowell Cunningham. Lowell Cunningham, and art by Sandy Carruthers. Now, this was written back...
That's a really good name.
It's a pretty good name, yeah. Maybe not a good artist, though, but, we'll get to that. A little bit of sizzle for now.
Oh, yeah, I was going to talk to you about the art, but don't worry, I'll talk to you about it a little bit later down the road.
It's on the list. We'll get there. We always get to what's on this list. But written by Lowell Cunningham, art by Sandy Carruthers. Now, this was written back in the early 90s, maybe 1990, right?
90 to 90 and 91, something around that.
Yeah. Now, I haven't read a lot of comics from the 90s, and I honestly forgot kind of like all the old publishers that were back around then. This was published by, so it gets a little confusing to me, and honestly, the internet didn't clear it up when I tried to look into it, but...
It looks like it's by Aircell Comics.
Aircell Comics did the first series.
And the rest is Malibu, right?
Yeah, so it was split up into 2 different series, is Men in Black and then Men in Black Book 2.
Book 2. Ooh.
And it says that Aircell published the first series, and Malibu Comics, which was eventually bought by Marvel after this, did the second series, but... I've also read that Aircell was a division of Malibu Comics. Maybe before they were...
It is. Right here it says, The Men in Black is published monthly by Aircell Comics, a division of Malibu Graphics Incorporated.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if
There we go.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Malibu Graphics was like a separate thing and they just had a comic publisher and that was Aircell Comics and then they just combined it all.
And they were like, well, maybe we can just call it Malibu Comics now.
Yeah, that's way cooler.
Way cooler. No one knows what Aircell means. There's not even 2 L's.
And if the 90s are about anything, it's about being extreme and cool. And there's a little bit of that in this, I've found. Kind of going into just, overall opinions. How'd you feel about this? I'm kind of mixed.
I'll say that as far as the two, the back and forth between both of them gets old real quick. But other than that, it's got some neat stuff. they don't mesh as well as the Will Smith and the Tommy Lee Jones do,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
that's real telling with this. I guess because I went back and read it after, I've seen the original movie, and it deviates hard.
The movie does.
Yeah, and I honestly think it's for the better.
Well, the Lowell Cunningham guy said he really likes the movie, so if, for whatever that's worth.
Well, I think it's because he knows it's like the story is better than whatever he did.
Think of all that cash money he might be getting though. Might be. I don't know how that works.
I'm pretty sure that goes to Malibu.
Artistic rights?
Well, I'm pretty sure that money goes to Aircel, which goes to Malibu, which goes to Marvel. So I don't think he gets that much money from it.
Oh.
But he gets the exposure, and that's just as good, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what I think he's doing all right.
He seems happy.
Maybe he's Highwell Cunningham now.
At the top. But yeah, like with the movie, I don't know. See, with the movie and the book, kind of thinking about the two, what I like about the book, the world is more interesting than what the movie set up, but the characters are better in the movie because of the
dynamic.
The stuff they change using, you have Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones back then, like both very charming in their own right. One's just calm and collect, and the other one's just so fresh.
So fresh and
so Bel Air, so fresh. But yeah, I mean,
oh, I see what you did.
Yeah, I don't, but yeah, yeah, we'll get into that. But before we get into that, Higgins, let's get into this drink that I have in my hand and you have on your table. What's all that about?
This thing's called the Mind Eraser. Mm-hmm. It's which like, Men in Black, they like wipe people's minds. So we were like, that's pretty funny and mixes with our comic pretty good. Mixes like a haha joke.
The alcohol mixes as well with this drink as that joke did with this podcast.
Was it?
No, let it simmer.
All right,
go on.
All right. Well, that makes me feel bad because we didn't mix any of the alcohol in this.
Well, they said not to.
Yeah, you're right. So let's tell them what's in this thing.
All right.
Kahlua on the bottom. Well, first fill with ice. Kahlua bottom. Vodka middle. Club soda top.
3 layers.
Drink with a straw from the bottom.
Yeah, they want you to work your way up. And I don't really know why. It
starts off pretty strong, but for some reason throwing vodka on top of it is less strong.
Yeah, and I think what they were going for here, because it's called the Mind Eraser, is I've noticed it gets better as you drink it. So maybe you're supposed to forget how bad the bottom tastes by the time you get to the top.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm looking forward to the club soda layer though.
It might be the best layer, Higgins. We're gonna have to get to the top of it to find out.
But our tummies will feel nice afterwards.
And they never do when we record, so this is a nice change of pace. Way better than that melon drink, though.
We're stepping up. We're moving past it.
That episode. That was a good episode, though, overall.
Great episode. I was feeling wonderful.
You sure were. And we were feeling wonderful that you were feeling wonderful. But yeah, that was a good episode last month. Big thanks to Tyler Shook. He's probably not listening, but if he is, thank you for all your Godzilla content that you shared.
Shouts out.
I might release the director's cut one day, which has like an extra hour and 45 minutes.
Boy, does it.
All that aside, let's get into this month's episode. It's been a minute, so...
So how do you feel about Sandy Carruthers? We'll start with that first and then work our way into the story.
You want to go with the art first? Okay, I actually think that's a good thing to start because that's my biggest problem with this.
It's old.
Well, the book itself is very dated. You can definitely tell when this was written, even without having looked and seen that it was made in the 90s. I can tell that this was made in the 90s.
Pretty typical comic book style. And you know what they might have should have called it? The Men in Black and White.
Yeah, it's not very good. Which I don't mind a black and white comic. I've read black and white comics before. I think that honestly, sometimes they can make the comic better depending on kind of the story itself. Like The Walking Dead is in black and white, and I've read a few issues of that, and I don't think it would be any better in color. It might be worse. And this might actually be better if it were in color.
Yeah,
just because
we could get a little more of the surrounding.
Well, it's about space and aliens and monsters and magic. It
like kind of wild,
Yeah, exactly. And even if it was colored, the artist, like nothing against Sandy Carruthers, great name. All that aside, it's just kind of generic and uninspired. And I wrote this down because there's a character in the very first issue of this that looks like one of the main characters, but with a beard.
With a mustache?
Yeah, and it took me about 5 to 10 pages to figure out that they were 2 different people. I just thought some time had passed and he shaved. So yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. Like, it didn't really ruin the story aspect of it. It just didn't help it.
Yeah, but Tommy Lee Jones is a spot-on match for Kay, though, right?
It does look pretty similar, yeah. I noticed that in the very beginning. Who's not spot-on similar, though? The character of Jay. Because in the book, they have a random white guy type. And in the movie, they got a Will Smith type.
Which maybe has blonde hair?
I think he's got blonde hair, yeah. I guess at the time when they casted this, they were just like, who's real hot right now? What's Will Smith doing? And yeah,
maybe they were just like, we're not following this comic exactly, and Jay's just a new recruit. He might just be the new Jay.
And that's way better. Like, that's good casting. I really enjoyed that first movie. It's kind of the main reason I wanted to read this. I wanted to tie it in with the release of the new movie, but to be honest, I probably won't even watch that.
At least not until it comes out on the Divid.
Mm-hmm. But I had heard that there were a lot of differences between these original 6 issues and the movie they made in the beginning, and I kind of wanted to check it out for that reason. And there's a lot, and it's the characterizations that I think that are really just kind of off-putting. I don't mind that, like, the character of Kay, he's kind of just, even in the movie, he's not friendly or anything. Like, Tommy Lee Jones is just straight face and by the book.
But he's not a dick either.
Yeah, and so it's kind of the opposite with this character, where he is like one of the best agents in the Men in Black. He's kind of the only agent in this book because we never see any other agents except one.
Yeah,
But like, he's good at his job and he likes his job. Like, that part's kind of similar to the Tommy Lee Jones version in the first movie, but he's a psychotic dickhead.
Yeah, I think he's less willing to teach the new recruit how to do the job. And he's more willing to just kind of shoot anything that, like, stands in his way.
Well, yeah, there's a line in one issue by the character of Jay, and he kind of mentions, he's like, is this going to go the way it normally goes, where I get beat up and then you shoot somebody for no reason? And he more or less kills someone every issue, or at least attempts to. And I don't know. I think that just is, again, when this book was written, like, that would have been so extreme and cool.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Guy never takes his sunglasses off, even indoors. Can you imagine?
He's the original, what's that one guy that's edgy and wears leather jackets that we always talk about?
He's the original Grant Morrison?
He's the original Grant Morrison.
Even though Grant Morrison was around before that?
All that leather jackets.
Grant Morrison was out of style, and that's when Kay just strolled in.
Yeah.
Sunglasses hot. Makes sense. Grant Morrison probably could have written a pretty good Men in Black comic.
This is in his wheelhouse.
That's right up his alley, isn't it? Yeah. But, yeah, I think it's going to be my main issue with this whole book, kind of talking about it. That being said, because it is split into 2 series, I don't know how much time was... They're pretty close. I think the first series was published in 90, and then the second series was published like mid-May or June in 91.
Yeah.
But I think he took some time to kind of come up with some more interesting ideas and kind of try and add a layer to the organization itself, kind of what's going on behind the scenes, and what's Jay gonna do about it? Because Jay's supposed to be us. He's supposed to be that character who just gets thrust into all this.
Yeah, he's new to everything.
Yeah, and look at all this weird shit that was right in front of us. We just, we didn't know about, and there's these guys to make sure we don't know about it. And that keeps in line with the overall core of the movie, but it gets even weirder in this, and I do really like that.
I like seeing more than just aliens.
Yeah, exactly. Like, in this, throughout the 6 issues, you find out that there's more. Like, really, so like in the movie, one issue of this is what they base the entire movie around.
Oh, yeah.
It's where the farmer...
The bug guy.
Yeah, the farmer is approached by these weird, like, bug aliens, and
they're the bad guys.
Yeah, and in the movie, it's Vincent D'Onofrio, and they just kill him and take his skin, and they're looking for, like, a galaxy or something. But in this, he just wants his rifle, because they're collecting things as, like, a rite of passage.
A scavenger hunt.
Yeah, and they don't do anything to that guy. They probably should, because he's still an asshole, but... It's weird to see that they took that issue and were just like, let's just roll with that and do something completely different and, out of field. And I like it. Like, I like that story. And it's kind of cool to, like, see a movie that you like and then go to a book that isn't just, like...
Miles ahead better?
Well, not necessarily better, but just the same thing.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of worried about that with this.
Because
like,
we did it with Shazam.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we read Shazam, and then... I saw that movie when it came out later.
I didn't see that movie, but I heard it was the same.
That's what I was gonna say. You basically did see that movie because more or less like it's each panel is just recreated. Lines of dialogue are the exact same. There's like examples of that in this. They take a couple lines and put it in the movie, but it's kind of nice to like go to something similar but with a completely different take on it. And this is the original take. To have all that magic and there's hints of superheroes in the world and everything.
Demons, vigilantes, aliens.
It's cool because it adds more to this universe that I already had kind of like a small understanding of from the films. And it makes sense because, well, if there's one weird thing, if there's an alien, yeah, why wouldn't there be like magic and demons and whatever else? Like, why would it only be aliens? So I like that part a lot. It's honestly like, it's my favorite part of this whole series, having read it.
Yeah, but let's hop into some crazy drugs and go a little berserk, because that's what it's called in the first issue.
Well, Higgins, get off that segue and let's talk about it.
All right. Apparently Jay, he's one of those guys, they're like, hey, this guy might be pretty good for the old Men in Black, which I guess they talked about that a little bit later on, like something in his past must have happened that like makes him like a good candidate for this. Plus the fact that he was in like the military.
He's in
DEA.
He's in the Fibby, the FBI.
The Fibby already?
Yeah,
okay.
he's undercover, Higgins. And yeah, you're right. They do need candidates because there's only like one person in the Men in Black.
Hey, there's two.
Is there though? Because
he doesn't like to be called the car.
Well, that's the thing is like, so Zed is that's the person giving him the missions and like, tell him this is this way or we've got reports of this. In the movie, that's the director. Like, that's an actual character.
He's the guy with the goatee.
Yeah, and they hint to it not being just a computer or an AI.
They make a joke about it because he's gets angry when you say stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think that
which I guess that could be the same for like an AI either way.
Yeah, you'll never know because you hate technology.
Especially AI.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, is that Lyle Cunningham didn't want to end with just the two series. He wanted to keep it going, and Malibu got, I guess, purchased by Marvel and they stopped it. But I'm thinking what he was maybe setting up is that it was just an actual guy and he's just somewhere in HQ just giving everybody answers all the time. But as far as we know, it was just an AI, a really sassy AI. They never show any other members.
Yeah, even when they're in the headquarters.
Yeah, they're the only ones in there. And granted, you don't see a lot of the headquarters because I guess, like Jay, we're not supposed to really know what all it is. I do really enjoy that bit, though, where when they're not practicing karate, he tries to escape and he just runs through like 8 different doors back into the same room.
Like those Scooby-Doo scenes where they go through one door and come out the other door down the hallway.
How does that happen?
I don't know. There's just a big room with a lot of doors attached to it.
But yeah, I like that bit. It's real weird and it really works for me. And it's creative. Like there's not a lot of that with this art, but that scene was really interesting to just kind of to look at and just see all the different rooms that were just kind of there. I don't know why they practice karate all the time, but
yeah, they didn't like use it really.
No, like
most of the time they just shot him.
Yeah, he just pulls out a gun real quick and shoots his problem away.
He's like, hold up, I have a bigger gun, which Kay likes bigger guns.
Yeah, he never takes his glasses off though, even when he's in his all black gi. It's just sunglasses all the time.
It blocks the neuralyzer. He's an old man from the times. He can't be wearing those contacts. Which I didn't realize that the glasses were why they didn't get their brains fried by that thing.
Yeah, it's in the movie too.
I just forgot that part.
It's a little different in the movie. Like in the movie, the neuralyzer it can just make people think whatever. But in this, it's more hypnotism.
Yeah.
Or at least they play with that idea more in this. Whereas in the movie, it's just, like, this didn't happen. Go about your day. But yeah, the whole sunglasses thing, like that's been around. It's still in this movie too, because Tessa Thompson knows about the Men in Black as a little kid, even though she didn't have sunglasses on. She's special. We don't really see any other kind of like gadgets. Like we see him whip out a couple of weird shaped guns, like one bigger
weird guns.
Yeah, but most of the time he just opts for like a shotgun or a pistol anyway.
They got like a hand scanner for when he first joined.
Yeah, that's right.
Some technology a little bit.
Mm-hmm. They got a weird like instant travel system that may or may not be for something else.
Yeah.
But I think the first series is just kind of set up. Basically
just making Jay jump in a little bit. Getting him used to the fold of MIB.
He's never keen for it though, is the thing. Like
not keen for Kay's brand of justice more than anything.
He kind of sticks around, but it does seem like he's just there because he trusts himself to do the right thing.
And then, like, in the second issue, he finds out he's basically dead anyways, technically, according to everybody else.
Yeah, because they wipe, very Men in Black, they just wipe him away completely.
Wipe him off.
Yeah, well, they say like an agent went missing, but they won't release his name or whatever. So, I mean, I'm sure that's why this did so well back then. It's all conspiracy. There's like an interview with, or like a Q&A with Lyle Cunningham in the very first issue, and I kind of went through that, and he mentions like his inspiration for this is his friend kind of talked to him, told him stories about UFOs, and then the mysterious Men in Black who would come and kind of just cover all the sightings up and make sure no one talked about it and everything. So he kind of took that and ran with it. And I'm sure that's why it sold well and was so hot and so cool and so extreme. But nowadays, when you read some of this dialogue, it's just real cringy and really lame. Because I wrote it down, like there's a bit where right before Kay comes in and saves him from those two brothers in the drug house.
Yeah.
He's undercover because he's with the FBI, and they mention something about like, oh, the generator's off, and he's like, oh, well, maybe I could take a look at it. Electronics are kind of my hobby. And then he thinks to himself, and by that I mean electronic surveillance. It's like,
nice.
All right.
You nailed it.
Why not? Even just some of the way the other people in this are portrayed are just, it just doesn't work that way anymore. Like they go to a comic convention at some point and it's just like all these nerds with huge glasses and like pocket protectors, and it's just.
But there was also a guy with a shirt on. I don't know if you saw it, but it just said alien and then an arrow pointing down at his penis. And I thought that was pretty funny.
That's pretty good.
I got to laugh at that one.
That's a timeless joke. But yeah, a lot of this is just very like, it's not even uncool to be like, it's cool to be a nerd now. We help make billions of dollars for Disney every year.
Well, I mean, Kay thinks so too. He keeps getting on to Jay about reading a book.
Yeah, the Men in Black handbook.
Which would probably be a good idea, because I mean, Jay keeps walking in at all this stuff and he was like, hey, what's this? Hey, what's this? This. And Kay's like, man, we gave you a book with like at least half of this stuff in there.
I think he's kind of glad that he didn't read it though, because Kay's whole thing is about being the best guy in the room. So he enjoys being able to call him an idiot and, just make fun of him for not knowing what's going on and beating up random people for no reason. I can't get over how insane he is in this series. And you think at some point he's going to get better, or there's going to be like a reason,
or they're going to start going towards the middle.
Yeah. Like Jay's going to teach him to be good, or at least, kind of like walk a line. And then Kay's going to teach him, how to make the hard choices.
But honestly, Jay's just kind of more just turning into Kay eventually.
Yeah. And at this point, I get that that's the point. Like it's supposed to be this new guy coming in and he's supposed to be better, or at least try to be better, because that would make the organization better. But I don't know if it's just he didn't write it that well, or he didn't have the time he wanted to write it all out. Like, I don't know how far he was planning on going with the story. And even though it ends, it does feel complete enough because, like you said, this is an anthology series. So each issue is
mainly its own thing.
Yeah, it's like a crime series. It's like a case of the week kind of thing with the same people, and they slowly progress their stories a little bit. But I guess it shut down on him before he really kind of
flesh out all those details.
Yeah, because there's a whole lot of like twists, especially towards the very end of this.
Man, that epilogue. We'll talk about it later. Don't worry.
You think we'll talk about it at the end? Or should we have talked about it at the beginning?
We'll talk about it at minute 34 and a half.
Okay.
You got that?
Well, do you even know what minute we're at?
No, you can fit it in though, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you when it comes up. Don't worry. Okay. It's interesting to think about where this could have gone, because this whole series revolves around the idea of like, you're not seeing the bigger picture. So maybe even though Kay is clearly crazy, there may have been something going on where he chose Jay because he knows that he can be better than him. But
at the end of the day, Kay saves Jay's ass like so many times. If things went Jay's way, like he'd probably be dead.
He's too green for this, but also Kay kind of looks at things like more realistically, I guess. I think it's a mix of he knows how the system works, obviously, but also he He cares so much about himself.
He's seen things, man.
Yeah, he's seen some things through those shades. But I like how there's moments where he kind of sees what Jay would do. And I mean, there's no real like evidence that shows it's a better way, because there's literally an issue where something he does earlier comes back to like really be a pain in the ass. So I don't know, maybe this whole series is just about how Jay's an idiot and Kay's right.
I think I'm on my club soda later, by the way.
How's that going?
It's
A little tingly?
no, it's about just like water.
Yeah, well, it's pretty flat though, yeah. Because we should have bought new club soda, but we've been using the same one. Amateur Higgins. We're only 5 episodes in though. Imagine what kind of bartenders we'll be by episode 10. You think about it?
Yeah.
And?
Well, I didn't know we were going to talk about it.
Fuck, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry, I really derailed you there. But how about that beefy shower scene in issue 2?
You got that chest hair showing?
I know they're like one of the few like comics that like show chest hair on people, which is a nice change.
Yeah, because
not everybody can be that clean shaven.
Exactly. You can relate, Higgins. You could be in the Men in Black.
I could be in the Men in Black. I got black sunglasses, chest hair, and I have a black suit somewhere.
That's another thing. I think anyone can kind of just be in the Men in Black, because they've been watching Jay and they're like, yeah, he could probably be pretty good, but they never test him or anything. They're just like, hey, put your hand here. All right, you're an agent. I don't know how I feel about that. Because in the movie, they make Will Smith do a bunch of tests with other people, and I'm not going to shoot this alien because it has a sucker or something. I don't remember. But with this, they're just kind of like, yeah, we really need somebody. Again, there's only like one person in this organization, and he's insane, so maybe you should come in and help out.
Which that was the thing that I was talking about, where I was like, maybe Jay had something happen to him. There's what's that? How do you say the Ravening Man? Is that what you went with?
I went with the Ravening Man, but then they mentioned that his name
was
comes
Ravenous.
from Ravenous, so would it be the Ravening Man?
I don't know. One of those.
Yeah. But yeah, he got beat up by a bird.
He got beat up by a bird, and that makes me think something happened to him as like a kid. You know when Kay was talking to that little boy in the Ravening Man? Be on the top of a building with a gun in your hand at like 19 or something like that. I have to imagine that must be like...
You think that's how they recruit people?
Yeah. They're like, this kid's seen the stuff, and...
He took it all right.
Yeah. And especially since we've seen the epilogue, Kay knew Jay as a kid and was like, hey, be here at this drug place. Join the FBI and stuff.
Do some of that and then come over here. Yeah, I mean, that would be very much in his character to do that, and that'd be kind of interesting. But
we'll never know.
Yeah, we'll never know.
This is all just fan theories.
Unless we did know, and they erased it from our minds, and then we have to meet on the top of a hill when we turn 19.
Well, dang.
A little late to that party, though, aren't we?
I'll be there again eventually.
Yeah, it goes back around.
Just a big circle.
You turn 99, and then the year after that, you go back to 0, and then start over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm on my tonic water later.
It's not as good. It's not my favorite. I wish we could just keep putting layers on top, like put my Kahlua layer on top of my club soda layer.
Should we do that from now on?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Do we need a refill?
Yeah, we need a refill.
All right, it's fine.
See you guys.
Make the drink.
Oh.
Get up.
I don't like that I'm the bartender. Always.
I'm the editor.
I guess you got all the stuff.
That's right. I brought all the equipment. And Higgins, it's really heavy. Higgins, it's like we never left, but we did, and now we're back. Is there anything you kind of wanted to talk about? Any big moments for you in this book? I've got kind of one I want to go over, but I'm a gentleman, so I'll ask you what you thought first.
Oh, man. I like the vigilante stuff a lot.
Oh, that was what I was going to say anyway.
All right, cool.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, that was the best part, because for one, it's the first...
It introduces another Men in Black.
Yeah, or a former Men in Black member.
Yeah.
So this guy who's like, he's a wolf, or the wolf now, he's a superhero, I guess.
Yeah.
They kind of hint that this might be set in maybe the Marvel universe, because Case is something about like how they're, we don't want vigilantes here in Chicago. It'll end up just like New York. So, and this may be around the time maybe Marvel was getting ready to purchase Malibu. Who knows? Anyway, so this guy was a former agent who he kind of got real sick of it and just ran away with
He was X, right?
He was Agent X, and then
ECKS.
Mm-hmm, thanks for clarifying.
Because it took me like a while to be like, oh man, it's a letter.
It's still a letter. That's right. Yeah. And then the other letter was Agent L. Do you want to spell that one?
I don't remember how they did that one.
I think it's like
Didn't he say Beta too at one point?
Yeah.
Beta was the scientist guy that made the stuff all the fancy stuff the wolf has.
He gave him eyes that don't respond to the neuralyzer.
Yeah.
But it looks like he's just blind, which I guess maybe that's all. Maybe he just blinded him.
and nanobots.
Yeah, nanotechnology, and he gave him a pet wolf named Peter, which is pretty good.
That was so good.
I like that too. Yeah,
Peter the wolf.
Yeah.
I will say I didn't know what the heck was going on when that issue first started.
I didn't see it coming either, but again, like everything I was reading up to this point, I already kind of had this idea of the movie in my head. So anything new they threw in, that was the most interesting stuff. And obviously we read a lot of superhero stuff anyway, so to get an element of that, and this is always kind of fun. But it's more about kind of Jay doesn't trust the organization already because everything they've done to him, and that's, you know, more than a good enough reason. And then you have this guy come in who shows how far he's willing to go to get out of it, and what Jay doesn't know about the organization. Because really the only kind of person he can talk to is Kay, and obviously Kay's not going to tell him anything he, you know, would want to share that would make them look bad or make Jay suspicious. So that was all pretty interesting back and forth, and that's what really kind of sets up the whole arc of Jay kind of questioning where his place is in the Men in Black. And maybe they would have done more, because this guy gets away, if I remember right. They don't actually end up killing him.
Yeah, because he has nanobots. He was like, "Oh, you got me in the heart."
Yeah, he did shoot him straight through the heart, didn't he?
Yeah, he was like, "You shot me straight through the heart. You really should have shot me in the head."
Yeah, but don't you think that the nanobots would have just made him a new head?
Well, like, I think it's like brains.
I'm sure they could have made him. Nanobots could do anything back then. That's also a very 90s thing.
Like in Agent Cody Banks.
Exactly.
That's a deep cut, right?
The wolf is exactly like Agent Cody Banks. Yeah, I like this. I like this element of it, and I wanted to see more of it, but it's okay because they threw in a couple different things with magic, which I also really liked. That was probably one of my favorite issues, besides the superhero one, was this weird like magic dye that can summon demons.
I just liked it when they were talking about that fancy dye, and he's like, "You got the something something dodecahedron? That's the best one."
Zed mentioned something about like magical dissipation fields. That's why power lines exist.
It's like the second reason is for electricity.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Ooh, that's good."
Oh, that's really cool and weird. I'm all for that. That's exactly what I expect out of a Men in Black story, and they deliver there.
They just basically made a cooler and edgier X-Files, but
you got to be careful on all those edges, Higgins, and be careful with this drink because it's strong and it gets better. Right now it's gross again because we got a refill, but...
You know what's nice? Our drink's kind of almost black and white.
Higgins, that's the problem with you. You're always about color. Why can't we all just get along? I
made that Men in Black and White joke earlier, and you, like, didn't even laugh that much. I've been thinking about that a lot this whole time.
I'll add a laugh track in, Higgins, when you tell that joke.
Please do.
That way it won't matter.
But yeah, we also got a really sad moment in the one with the... I know it's not bad, but I don't like saying B and D. It sounds dirty. But yeah, that lady, like, her kid gets squashed by the demon thing. And she's like, "Oh no, the demon squashed my baby." And Kay was like, "We can probably just leave her like that." And Jay was like, "I think she'd be better off thinking it was a tornado rather than a demon monster that no one's ever going to believe her about."
Would it have been?
It very marginally, but...
I thought it was weird that he just was like, "Yeah, I'll do the tornado thing. That's way better." We've seen this thing before. It can literally make people say or do anything or forget anything. Wouldn't it have been better to just go, "You never had a child"?
I don't know. There was like clearly a squashed baby in the middle of her broken house. So like...
Yeah, but that could have been anybody's house that she stumbled into, Higgins.
It's like, you actually live next door.
Yeah, that was just kind of sad and weird.
It was sad, but I mean, we're past it. We made it.
You know, he cares in the long run, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So that's good.
We got one more thing I'd like to talk about before the part where we talk about the epilogue.
Okay, yeah, what is it?
I just wanted to see your thoughts on the Ravening Man, where that old man turns a bunch of crows into like a bird version of himself.
Yeah, that was the weakest part, but it did kind of introduce like the folklore bit was fun. How it was like the magic is its power comes from people's belief in it and the faith in it, and it twists it to be something else. That's kind of like what the Men in Black is in this universe, because there are points where people are like, they've clearly heard about the Men in Black. I mean, at the end in the last issue, like these comics are in this universe.
Yeah, I was going to say that was pretty meta of them.
Yeah, and people talk about it, and it's become something
of a myth or legend.
Yeah, but it's turned it even weirder
which is cool because like they talk about all that other stuff too, like what the day the Earth stood still.
Yeah, it's like a documentary or something.
Yeah, and then there was the Space Invaders. Like it was basically saying like, yeah, we'll blow you up, aliens.
Yeah,
and they were like, all right.
We see how this is gonna go.
Let me back up slowly.
One pixel at a time. Yeah, like that was cool. And then that's also the issue where we find out that Jay hates birds as much as I do. They're terrifying, and I don't trust them one bit.
I don't think our listenership knows that you don't like birds.
Fucking terrifying.
He hates birds almost as much as I hate computers. Well, smart computers.
A computer's never gonna peck your eyes out, though.
Yeah, but it might kill me.
Would you rather be blind or would you rather be dead? Yeah, that's what I thought.
But I can still eat pizza when I'm blind.
Oh, sure you can smell it miles away too, because your other senses will be heightened. All right, that's one for you.
All right.
Okay.
So we'll hop into the end, which Hold
on, maybe I had a thing I wanted to say. That wasn't the end, but it probably is the end. But let me look at my notes that I took, Higgins, because I care. You hear that? That's the flipping of pages of notes that I wrote down. And that's a drawing I did of you earlier.
Does it look good? That's good. This is good for sound content, right?
Yeah, I mean, this picture isn't good for children, but,
It'll be good for you later.
That'll be the cover for this episode.
We've said Malibu enough times to get sponsored by Malibu coconut rum again.
We said Kahlua a couple times too.
Oh.
And I just said it again.
That's at least 3.
That's 2 sponsors in one episode. How about that? Oh, let's see. We got the power line. Oh, I like the bit about I'm just going through my notes. This is good, right? I like the bit about how they have different meeting places for intergalactic guests. So like if it's in like a planetary guest, like someone just from a nearby planet, they go to a state park. A national park is for interstellar visitors. And then my favorite bit, Antarctica is just for intergalactic visitors, which they've never had, but they might one day.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that for whatever reason. But yeah, that kind of goes into what you wanted to talk about anyway. I don't really have anything else to touch on like in other issues. That last issue is pretty good. And that's the thing is like this second half was a lot better. It's one of those things like, well, now I kind of wish there was more to read.
Yeah. They left me with some questions. They wrapped up a good bit of it, but they left me with some questions. At the end of the day, it would always still be like a crime anthology type series.
I think that kind of works for a comic like this, though.
It does, because you get to see cooler things.
Yeah, because originally we were maybe only going to read the first series.
The first 3.
And if it kind of did one story in 3 issues, and then we would read the second series if it went over into that.
Which the first 3 are standalone enough.
Yeah, like that was the thing is I thought we were just going to kind of end it at 3, but I think because it was an anthology and each main plot was wrapped up by the end of the issue, I was like, yeah, I can keep reading these. It's fine. And by doing that, I enjoyed the back half of it more.
You got that sweet, sweet finish.
Exactly. Yeah, that was really good. And
because they took something we did in the first couple issues and brought it all the way to the last issue of this one.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you about that. Maybe you can kind of like clarify. I think I have an idea of when this was supposed to happen, but basically
he handed the insect people his gun, and like this bug guy was a part of a group on that Proximan planet, and the other group of aliens from Proximan were pissed because the other group got the thing before they did.
It breaks rules because
he showed favoritism among aliens, basically.
So now they've come for him to like stand trial and then more or less just be killed. And I thought Kay was gonna kind of like show he does like Jay and help him out. And he
do
says
some voodoo tricks.
Well, he says he's going to help him out. You know, just play along with me. We'll go to this comic convention because that's where we can have a meeting because nerds are dumb and they'll like just think it's someone in a costume. Which,
hey man, he didn't say nerds are dumb. He just said that people are in costumes, basically.
At one point,
he doesn't like nerds.
At one point, he literally says like geek alert or something.
He says geek alert a couple times.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on.
It's so cool, isn't it?
Geek alert.
Yeah. Dumb nerds. But
they didn't put a Star Wars in there. Oh, they did. I saw the Wookiee.
Yeah, Chewbacca was there. Was that you think that was actually Chewbacca?
It was 100% Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Because they had Star Trek too. Because apparently William Shatner's a Shuby Men in Black. They were like, he wishes he could be part of our team.
That was a pretty good joke, actually, because he would. But you'd think that Kay was, going to step up and help his partner out, but he just kind of comes along to see him get obliterated.
Well, disintegrated.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. There is a fine distinction between the two. I'm sorry. But yeah, like at no point does he try to do anything remotely helpful. And I'm okay with the way this ended because he was such a dickhead that even though Jay went out, at least he got him in the long run. But then it's just revealed that they're clones anyway.
Oh, man, you got to do the reveal? Yeah, they're clones.
That's right. I was going to let you do the reveal, and then you call me out on that stupid disintegrated thing.
I don't think they're clones the whole time. I think Jay became a clone when he became, like, a member of the Men in Black, because that's what it seemed like.
Well, that's what I was going to talk to you about, because I'm trying to, like, nail it down. We know that they were clones, and now they're dead or whatever, and when Zed wakes Kay up first, he says that...
He's ready for phase 2?
Jay's ready for phase 2, because he's like, well, he killed you, so... Obviously, he's as crazy as you are, and he's ready for the next step. But he's going to take away all his memories up until the point of Virginia. And I looked it up. I don't see an issue where they go to Virginia, but the pods they come out of, I think they're supposed to be... You know that one issue where they're like, we have to go to this place immediately, get in this pod to transport there? I think it's that pod. And so whenever they do that, I think that's when at that point they get switched out.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess, but I'm not 100% sure. But it would make sense because from Jay's point of view, all we see is him like blink into the next space. So it would make sense that they put the original Jay to sleep when that pod turned on, and then they activated the duplicate with his memories at that point in the town that they needed to go to. And maybe they just do that anyway, because I think as an issue before that, they just get in a helicopter and then get in a car. Like they actually drive there.
That's because they had enough time to do that because it was only a priority 3 mission, and he's like, "Oh, just one of those? Like that ain't even that big a deal."
Well,
and the one they did the Tubi thing was a priority 1, and they were like, "Oh man, this is the good stuff."
Well, that, and he says that he wasn't ready for the Tubi thing at that point, so maybe he was just kind of waiting to see like, is this guy what I need before I bother cloning him.
He just wasn't ready for the Tubi thing because I'm glad we're saying Tubi thing so much, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, he wasn't ready for the Tubi thing because he's never done the Tubi thing before.
Do you think there's a Tubi thing we can be sponsored by? Can we go for 3?
I think we said it like at least 10 to 20 times, but...
We're covered for the next 10 episodes.
Thank God for Tubi thing. But yeah, I enjoy... Yeah, like you said, it gets better as it goes, and I'm glad I read the second part.
Yeah. But...
Oh, there's Lowell Cunningham.
Even though I hate birds, I didn't hate this. And that's about as good of a review as I can give.
You say that Lowell Cunningham hates nerds, but have you looked at a picture of this guy? Because he looks exactly like the guy from the comic book convention.
Well, Higgins, maybe he became what he hates the most, a nerd.
But like, just give him a gander, because it's the spitting image.
This is so good for content. Oh, God.
The spitting image of the Comic-Con guy.
Well, so now that you say this, and now that I'm looking at him, I'm pretty sure they drew themselves in this comic.
Yeah, probably.
Well, so there's a odd panel where they're at that comic convention. It's like right after they get obliterated or disintegrated.
Disintegrated?
Sorry. They're like talking about like who wins. The Men in Black have won the costume competition. But then there's a panel of these 2 random guys while he's saying that are looking directly at you. Oh
yeah, I see you. And we're like, why are those guys here?
That's gotta be them,
yeah,
right?
He's pretty spot on.
Oh, they're so meta, Higgins.
I like it a lot.
He likes it lots. Did you like this, Higgins? Do you want to give it a rating?
Yeah, it's I want to give it 3 to 4 unobtained cokes by that Duran guy out of like 6. 4.
You gonna settle on 4?
4 out of 6.
4 out of 6. Okay.
Cans of Coke that Duran guy never got before he blew up the Coke machine. We didn't get to make that joke. I wanted to bring it in the fold because I like that part too.
Well, it definitely landed.
Yeah.
As for me, I am going to...
Oh, I should have done something with like a neuralyzer or something like that. That would have been pretty good.
Well, it's too late now, isn't it? You're locked into that rating. No, you're fine. Use the neuralyzer to make me forget about your rating and then use that.
I'll erase your mind.
Mm-hmm. just like this drink. No, for me, I'm going to give I was a little disappointed overall, but there are still things to like about it. So I'm going to give it, let's say, 2 out of 6 Peter the Wolves. Because there were 2 issues I enjoyed quite a bit for what they were. That being one of them, because Peter the Wolf was quite adorable.
He was a small wolf.
He's a bloodthirsty. He was a really small wolf, but, you know, he had a big heart.
Yeah.
And I respect that. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say about this. Pretty quiet episode for this one, which is fine, you know.
It's quiet.
We need a break after that last one, you know. Big monsters, big guests all around. So this was nice to.
Long times.
Yeah, well, it's been a while. It's only been a month, same as the others, but
for like the whole 31 days. It's one of them long months.
That's what happens when you start podcasting, Higgins. You miss every day you're not doing it.
Maybe if we didn't read the book on the day of, like, it would feel like we were doing podcasts more, but...
Well, Higgins, why would you mess with a winning formula?
That's what I'm saying. Like, we know everything about this thing.
Anything and everything that could have happened, we just said. They don't even have to read the book. But you know what they do have to do? Leave, because we're done.
We're done. Mm-hmm. Well, we have to tell them what we're reading next.
Oh, that's right. They can come back for this, and then they got to leave again.
All right. We got, like, housekeeping deals.
That's right, Higgins.
So we're going to do... Wanted, which is another comic that turned into something on TV
that we watched
that one time.
Mm-hmm. That is, I've heard, also different from the book.
I've heard it's a lot different too.
Yeah, apparently the bending bullet thing is only like one character for a little bit. So.
Yeah, and I heard it's not that long, so like we could probably finish it in the day of again.
That's right up our alley, isn't it? Again, we're at the top of our game. Why would we change anything now?
But yeah, we're gonna read that one.
Yeah,
Wanted by somebody. We'll find out. You'll find out next week.
No, we'll find out right now. That way people could find it if they want to, Higgins.
Oh, okay.
I thought you cared about your fans.
No, it's okay. It's Wanted by Mark Millar.
Oh, of course. Yeah, Mark Millar. So they should read that, and if they've already read it once, they should read it again so that we'll all be ready to talk about it over another drink next month.
Yeah. Where can they find us while they're waiting?
Well, Higgins, I think it's your job to tell them because I was going to ask you to do that, but since you've asked me and flipped it, I will tell them that they can find you on Twitter and Instagram. Now, Higgins, you're at Mike Higgins93 on Twitter.
You nailed that.
I know. I'm the only one on the show to have nailed that in one go. You don't even remember you're on Twitter.
Oh, man.
Your Instagram is jsturm93?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, and I am at Snoop_Lynch on Twitter and Instagram. That's it. It's just the one. But you can find me either way on both.
On both.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, you can tell us what you thought about this book. If you read it, you can tell us about Wanted when we read that.
Tell us about how you love hearing our sweet, sweet voices.
Mm-hmm. And these sweet, sweet drinks as we clink them around. I'm sure you guys love that. Take a sip real quick. Oh, it's the vodka layer. It's a little better. You're still on the Kahlua layer, I can tell.
Yeah.
That's fine. You'll get there. And we'll get back here in a month.
Do we have anything else to say?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
for listening, if you do, and reading with us if you do, because we barely keep this ship afloat. So if anyone else is out there helping us, that's good.
Yeah, that's really good.
Mm-hmm. And thank you, Gary, my cat, for leaning against Higgins' table so it doesn't
fall over.
Well, it's not really even, so it might move around. So he's balancing it out. Appreciate it, buddy. And
then you got that thing that you do at the end, and I'll wing it again.
Oh yeah, fuck man, I'm tired. I didn't even remember it. I remember your Twitter, and that just kind of took everything away.
I
understand why this is so hard for you now.
One thing's good enough.
Yeah, right. But no, we will see you guys in a month, and until then, cheers.
I'll see you guys. I'm gonna let you keep going until you find something new. I'll see you guys.